Hello and welcome. This is It's Always About Love with Lynne Lara and Leigh Evans. What is It's Always About Love? You may be asking yourself. This is our new podcast just for you. Lynne and I are here to offer you answers to all your questions. These questions about life, and we could actually call it Life 101. Whatever your question may be on any relationship topic, Lynne is here to answer them for you. Lynne has been a psychotherapist for many years in private practice, and today she's bringing all of that experience and wisdom to help you. We care about you. We're not here to judge. We are here to offer our compassion and understanding. It's Lynne's desire to help you and make what you hear today usable in your life now. Please email us your questions at itsalwaysaboutLove1@gmail.com. That email again is alwaysaboutLove1@gmail.com. You can listen to us at 5 o'clock Pacific Time, 6 o'clock Mountain Time, 7 o'clock Central Time, and 8 o'clock Eastern. Now, let's get started. Are you there, Lynne?
Oh, I am. Hi, Leigh.
Hi, Lynne.
Oh, okay.
I think I'm excited.
That's good. I am. I'm a little tired, though. Listen, we got a letter, and you forwarded it to me, so I appreciate that. And this is my answer to the letter. However, I'm calling her Barbara. I'm going to read Barbara's letter first to all of you. She says, I've been married for almost 16 years, and we've got an 11-year-old daughter. What do you think, Lynne? Am I wrong? My issue is that I feel like we're roommates. We never hug or kiss anymore. She's talking about her husband. We never hug or kiss anymore. The last time we made love was about 18 months ago. We still care about each other, but this situation often frustrates and depresses me. I'm not expecting to be madly in love, but an occasional hug or kiss would make me feel more connected. She's a good writer. She's writing this good. My husband says he doesn't need these things, so I suffer. This is frustrating me, and I'm thinking about leaving. The reason I have stayed in this relationship is that I'm trying to give my child a family, but I also worry I might be giving a wrong example to her. I don't want her to grow up thinking this is how relationships are. Am I wrong for wanting to move on and stay with friends rather than constantly asking for something he can't give me? Good question. Good question. Honey, Barbara, and you're a mother. Okay, here goes. Welcome to It's Always About Love. We're so glad that you're here. What I want to know, Barb, is were your parents divorced when you were growing up? Mine were. And I'm going to make an assumption, since it's a sweet girl, she's 11, that you and your husband have, that you love her very much. Of course you do. You're a good mother. He's a good father. Times have changed since you and I grew up, Barb, but I don't think children have. But this is what has changed about the culture we live in. And every time I hear a marriage counselor or a psychologist or a life coach encourage couples to split apart, I feel it inside of me. And I've been a marriage counselor for years and years. But there's one thing I won't do. I'm not interested in helping couples split up. Listen, that's no fun for me. And I'm doing this counseling that I've been doing for longer than probably you've been alive, for years and years, because it makes me happy. I need the success cases. And there wouldn't be anything about you and your husband splitting apart that would bring joy for me. Isn't that's selfish of me? I know that it is, but I don't care. Quite the contrary. I would have to worry about the two of you, because one of you would end up lonely. And believe it or not, that might be you, Barbara. I know your intention is good, but you might be the one that ends up hurting if he finds another woman before you find another man. But there's something else about what your family and you leaving your husband is really about. And I've been through it, so I know. My mom and dad divorced. My mom didn't want to be married to my dad anymore, and it darn near killed me. I loved my dad. I loved him so much beyond words. That's pretty much how girls are. I think I was 12 years old when it happened to me, and your daughter's 11. It's pretty much how girls are with their daddies. Mother, sweet mother, I'm not sure that you have the luxury of wanting to leave your little girl's daddy so that you can find someone who will give you affection. Barbara, you're not wrong to want affection. But can we get our priorities straight? Who's the most important person in your home? Is it you? Is it your husband? No, neither of those. It's about your daughter. And when she was born, or when you were carrying her in your body, just beneath your heart, you promised that you would give her everything possible. You promised her, Barbara, whether you knew it or not, that she would come first in your life, honey. Barbara, I don't want to insult you. Honestly, I don't. But you're not setting a bad example for your daughter by staying with her daddy. When he isn't affectionate with you, the bad example you'd be setting for her would be if you left someone that she adores. All little girls, unless they're with a daddy who's abusive to them, all little girls love their daddies. I want you to know that I remember as if it was yesterday when my dad would take we kids. There were 3 of us, and I was the oldest. I can remember it as clear as the day is long, when my dad would take us to the movies when it was his weekend to be with us after they'd split up. And he thought I didn't know what he was doing because the theater was dark, but I saw, and it still hurts. I saw the tears streaming down his cheeks because he loved us so much, and I became angry with my mother for doing that to my dad. Really, I couldn't leave her and go live with my dad because I couldn't leave my brother and sister. They depended on me. I was their big sister, and in some ways I ended up raising them. But there was a part of me who honestly didn't want to be with her and watch her date men. I wanted my dad back, and I want you to consider the possibility that this could be you and your daughter someday. Please think about it. Set your needs aside for a while and try what I'm going to suggest. You don't have to stay, Barbara. That's up to you. But try before you leave to do what I'm going to suggest for you. I want you to do something different. I want you to begin to talk to your husband about the daughter the two of you share with each other. I want you to tell him what a good father he is and how much you appreciate him. I want you to find one thing each day, Barbara, one thing each day that you appreciate about his being her father. Tell him how sweet it is to watch the way he plays with her out in the backyard. Tell him how wonderful you think he is when he reads a story to her before she falls asleep at night. Find things to like about the father he has become and how you think she's going to turn out because of it. That means tell him you can't imagine her being without him And she's so wonderful because she's had him in her life. And actually, that is the truth, Barb. It's not that you haven't been a good mother. I'm sure you've been a great mother, honey. But there's something about daddies and their little girls. Oh, this is hard. This is a hard one. I didn't think I was going to get it. Do you know that you're the first one who's written a letter to us? So, whoo-wee. Painful. It's painful because it brings up my background. Find things, though, to like about the father he's become and how you think she's going to turn out because of it. And don't say a word, not during all this time that you're telling him what a good daddy he is. Don't say anything about him not being affectionate with you. Let it go, Barb. Just let it go. It hasn't changed anyway. Just let it go for right now and don't think about it. And then, after you've been doing this for 2 weeks, that's what, 14 compliments you're going to get to him, to get to say to him. You can do that. You can make a list of 14 things and then say it one by one each day. And try to mean it. It's going to be easy for you to mean it about him with this little girl. What's hard, and would be hard, and I don't blame you, is for you to appreciate the way he is with you because you don't like it. And Barb, you do deserve affection. I don't know whether you're going to get it or not, honey. I don't know what's going to come out of this, but I think it's going to be something good. And it may be affection for you. I don't know. We could have a vote. We could make bets here, and somebody would win some money for whatever changes in your life, because your life is going to change if you do what I'm asking you to do. Let it go. His not being affectionate, I'm sorry. Let it go. Don't think about it during the next 2 weeks. And then write to us and tell me how you are. Tell us how you are. Will you do that? Because we want to know. We care about you. Just let us know. Will you do that? And will you do one more thing? Remember that Leigh and I love you. The title of our new podcast is It's Always About Love. And Leigh and I love you. I know Leigh does. I know I do. How could I not care about you as I was writing a letter to you that's so deeply embedded with love? I can't see Leigh. We live a long distance from each other. She's in another state, but I bet you she's crying right now. And I almost forgot to say this, Barbara. I don't know how this is going to turn out for you and your husband and your daughter that you love so much, but try not to forget that it's always about love. And I want to tell you, Barb, you brought something back into my life. The fact that you made a decision to write to us about the problem that you're having. It's an important problem, honey. It is. But you're not going to solve it. And it might become worse if you leave your husband, your child's daddy, to go off and find someone else. That will never be okay with her. I promise you that it won't. And she's not going to blame him. She's going to blame you. And that could have devastating effects. Leigh and I have just come from working with mothers and fathers who have been rejected by their adult child. I don't want that to happen by their adult child when they're grown up. I don't want that to happen to you, Barb, with your little girl who's 11. So, this morning I got a letter. Leigh sent me your letter last night. And this morning I got a note from her that said she's excited to hear my response to you. And this is what I wrote to her, and I want to share it with you. Leigh, I'm excited for you to hear it too. To be honest, I have fallen back in love with the way I practice my profession. In short, this letter has caused me to love myself, and that's a funny thing to say, but it's true. These last years of going through what I've been going through before you came with me, how I had Christians truly disliking me and lying about me and saying that I wasn't a therapist. And it wasn't funny to have to face that, saying that I'm a liar, that I'm not a therapist, that I would rob them if I got the chance. It's been hard for me to listen to that. But maybe even more hard than that, maybe even more hard than having the women that I cared about lie themselves about me, even more hard, has been me being reminded on a daily basis that my daughter, my precious daughter, that I love more than life itself, has done the same thing to me. It's been hard, always thinking about what's going on. But our new program, Leigh, It's Always About Love, reminds me that my responses to Barbara, who I honestly care about, is who I honestly am. My response to her is honestly what I really believe. And what I always tried to give to others who came to my office, it isn't about the Christian women, not just about them. It's about therapists in the mental health field, my field as well, who've accepted and even encouraged couples to split apart at the drop of a hat. I disagree with that, and I disagree with our culture who also blindly accepts it. I am in love with me right now, and isn't that a funny thing to say? But it's the way I feel because of Barbara's letter and the way that I finally got to respond. It's a very funny thing to say. The women who have worked arduously against me were and are wrong about me. I loved them and I tried to help them in the same way that I responded to Barbara, our new listener. But more than anything, I love Barbara's daughter and all children like her. It's hard to say that without crying, because it may be easy for women who make the decision to leave easily, but it isn't at all easy for our children. And somewhere along the line, we've forgotten the children. I've watched so many television programs, or I've been to so many seminars over the years where the therapists who were there to train the rest of us, in my field, you always had to have so many hours of continued training. Some of the seminars I gave, but I would sit there and listen to them talk about when it's necessary for people to split apart. And I always said, but what about the children? You know, Leigh, the letter that Barbara sent and that you chose to send to me is such a gift because it gave me the chance to say to Barbara and to everyone who's listening, what about the children? What about the children? When I was a little girl, and that happened to my dad, I'll tell you the truth, I've always known that going through that experience helped me become a better therapist when I grew up, because I have compassion for what I've experienced, for the people who come into my office. My offices, because over the years I've been in about 3 or 4 different offices. I worry about the children. And when I hear therapists say, yes, you should leave him. You should leave him. He's not being right to you. The only time you should leave him is if he's hitting you or hitting the children. being abusive. And if he drinks too much, that's okay, go ahead, but don't leave him for good, because I can help him get sober. And if he gets sober, he's going to be the man of your dreams, trust me. I watched that happen so many times. So I'm thinking about Barbara right now. I love Barbara's daughter and all children like her. I can't help it. They're me when I was a little girl. It may be easy again for us to leave the men that we're involved with, but it isn't easy for our children, and it isn't Barbara. Barbara's suffering, I know it. But if she leaves her little girl's daddy, her little girl is going to hurt more than Barbara ever imagined that she's been hurting. And somewhere along the line in our culture, we've forgotten about them. And I think that's one of the things that causes parental estrangement. And that's what Leigh and I have been working with, and what we both are, that we have been working to help parents reunite with children who have rejected them. But where that came from was therapists, and I was one of them. It's the way I was trained back in the middle 70s when I very first became a therapist, when I had my first licenses. And what we were trained to do when someone came into our office and said, I'm lonely, can't be in a relationship, doesn't work, whatever we said, well, which one of your parents didn't love you the way you deserved to be loved? And we blamed the parents. And today, society blames the parents. It breaks my heart. It breaks my heart. But one child at a time. Because, Barb, you could end up like the other, we call them forsaken parents. It's a terrible thing. They love their children. They love their children. Oh, don't we just, though? But I worry about the children, and this one, yours is a young girl right now. It's not too late, because it may be easy for women who make the decision to leave easily, but it isn't at all easy for the children. And somewhere along the line, they've gotten forgotten. I can't believe it when I watch those programs. Some of them have been, well, Dr. Phil. Not all Dr. Phil. Other therapists, too, that I've watched. And I go, wait, she's saying, yes, it'll be a good thing. It's okay for you to split up. And I think, no, it's not okay with the child. Ask the child how they feel about it. And you know what? Even if their father has been abusing them physically, sexually, no. You've got to leave your husband then. But even if he's been hitting that child, and she doesn't deserve it, of course she doesn't. But even then, she's going to say, no, I don't want Daddy to leave us. Please, Barbara, I'm not judging you, honey. I know that you have a right to be given affection by your husband. I don't doubt it for a minute. But you're wanting affection that may or may not come to you as the two of you heal with what has been going on is minimally important when it comes to what your daughter will go through. And I know that you love her, Barbara. I know you love her more than anything. I love my daughter more than anything. My mother loved me more than anything when she split apart with my dad. And it damn near killed me as a child, what she was doing. So, Barbara, continue to love her more than anything, and let her be with her daddy. Trust me. Trust that it's always about love, and give what you're going through more time. It's not time yet, Barbara. I like the miracles that happen when we believe in our hearts that it's always about love. Are you there, Leigh?
I'm here.
Leigh, are
I'm
you
listening.
there? Okay.
I'm listening.
I'm done talking to Barbara right now. Do you have any thoughts?
My thoughts are, I agree with you. What about the children? What about the children?
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
In the programs that I watched, Leigh, I haven't once heard the therapist say, but wait, what about the children? Nobody's ever said that. Makes me sick.
Right.
I'm ashamed of my profession when I see that happen. I really am. But listen to me, nobody gets into this field that I'm in because they just want to make a lot of money. Sometimes that happens, sometimes it doesn't. They get really and truly, we're good people. We get into this field because we honestly want to help other people. You're in this field, Leigh, because you want to help people.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're not bad people. That's what I'm saying. But we forget about the children. We forget about what they're going to go through. And we think they're going to be okay. They're not. Gosh, how many children in a class that's filled with 11-year-olds, how many of those children have already experienced parents who've split apart? And I will bet you that it's probably about 75%. It's more rare for a child to be raised today in a family where the parents stay together.
I agree.
Yeah, we need to do something about changing it. And
Yes.
it's been so wonderful that my first letter for it's always about love. It's always about love, or it's all about love. What is it?
It's always about
It's
love.
always about love. I forgot. I'm the one who wrote it, and I forgot it. Ah, what was I saying right then? Anyway, it's like a miracle that Barbara's letter came in. I don't know, had a lot to think about as I answered her. So, anything else, Leigh, you want to say? How are you feeling right now?
Um, well, I also suffered with that too in my relationship with my daughter's father because I felt I wasn't getting the type of attention I needed. I made the decision to stay in it for my daughter's sake. I might have kept complaining about the situation. I didn't, but I did not incorporate what you said, your suggestions of 14 compliments, one every day, which I think is a very awesome idea.
Or 20, or 500, I don't care.
Or 1,000, right? I think it's a very good idea.
Why
And
do you
so
think, why do you think
every day, give somebody something nice. Say something nice to somebody every day.
your spouse, your spouse?
Your spouse
Yeah.
or significant other. Say something nice. I'm writing it down.
You can write it down. I'll remind you when the program's over. How many more minutes? Where are we at in this program?
We're right at it right now. We're ready
Oh,
to.
we've got to say goodbye.
Yes.
Oh, Barbara, we've got to say goodbye to you. Barbara, we want to hear from you in 2 weeks. I don't care if you don't have a happy ending or anything, because I'll have something else for you to do in 2 weeks. Come on, Barb, will you do that, please? Will you write to us again in 2 weeks? Unless something horrible happens, I don't want to hear from you during the 2 weeks, because this is just for you to be thinking of nice things to say to him. And but then in 2 weeks, what today's Thursday?
Right.
Okay, 2 weeks, 2 Thursdays from now,
Let me
Barb, we
write
want
that
to
down.
hear from you again, or Wednesday, I guess it was, that you wrote to us, because we really do care about you. Leigh, you know what? The difference in this program and other programs is that I'm going to get, I hope, I hear people who are doing this and they take care of it in one session. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to leave anybody. And I'm saying, Barbara, come back in 2 weeks and we'll keep on helping you. We'll come up with some other things. We'll answer your letter. Okay. Got it? It's going to be a different program. I will not leave you high and dry because I gave you one thing to do. There's lots of things, but I do want to hear from you. And I do want to know what's changed and if anything's changed. Actually, something's going to change, Barbara. I'll guarantee that. How's that? Guarantee it or your money back. And Barbara, you didn't spend any money. Okay. Leigh, are you there?
I am definitely here.
We got to say goodbye.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we do. We're over.
We're over. And I want to remind everyone, remember, it's always about love. We're so glad you're here. Thank you for sending your letters, your questions, your relationship problems.
Say the times. It's 5:00.
And right. Let's look at the times again so I get it right. It's 5:00 Pacific time, 6:00 Mountain, 7:00 Central, and 8:00 Eastern.
Yep.
And we will be seeing you there.
Yep.
And so I guess we'll say goodbye.
Bye, Leigh. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.